What's up guys, and welcome to a fairly short artifact guide. In this video, I'll be talking mainly about the substats you should be shooting for, what domains to farm to be the most resin efficient, and what crit value is and how to calculate it. Try to do it as quickly as I can, and I do want to be clear here, this is meant to be a shorter guide, but if you guys really want more of like an in-depth and informative guide to artifacts, then I will touch on that more in the end of the video, and leave a comment if you want me to get more in depth with what artifacts to use and who to use it on, etc, etc. Firstly, I want to touch specifically on what exactly crit value is, because a lot of people talk about it, and if you don't know already, you go to any artifact, like for example this one, and you look at the crit rate substat and the crit damage substat. All you do is multiply crit rate by 2, and then you add crit damage together, and you have your crit value. For example, for this piece, it would be 7 times 2, which is 14, plus 20, that is a 34.2 crit value. Now, crit value is very important on artifacts. What makes a good crit value is honestly who you're planning to put the piece on. And like, for example, a Shao or a main DPS, you really want to have as much crit value as you can get. When looking at some characters, they actually ascend with crit, whereas a lot of people also have crit or crit damage weapons. Like for example, with Shao, I've run him on Jade Spear every now and then. And also, for example, with Hu Tao, I run her on Staff of Homa, which is a really high crit damage stat stick. I also wanted to touch on the fact that there are artifact sets, at least one, that gives crit value technically, and that is with the Marechausse and Gilded set, and it gives you 36 crit rates for free if you are increasing or decreasing your health, which is good for like a Shao or a Furina teams or Nivelettes or any Fontaine characters that have the HP gain / loss mechanic. Now, as this guide is more of an in general for artifacts, here are the domains. You see them on screen. You should farm based on your needs. These are the most resin efficient domains. Now, first of all, I know I'm going to get a lot of pushback for this. The most resin efficient domain in the game, although it's not considered the best by most, is going to be the Emblem / Shimenawa domain. Now, I know, it is a little bit of a hot take, I guess you could say. Obviously, you can strongbox it now. If you didn't know that, you can strongbox Emblem and Shimenawa. But I will say, for most accounts, a lot of people run Emblem. Now, this domain is going to be your best option for most characters, as most characters need a 4-piece Emblem, and everybody can benefit from the 2-piece attack, or even the 4-piece Shimenawa in some cases. And here are a list of characters who need each. And you can see there are a lot, with the most predominant for meta being Xiangling, Xingqiu, and one, of course, for Raiden Shogun. Seeing this graphic not only helps you guys see who you're building specifically, but also to show off the resin efficiency of the domain, as most of these characters are considered viable. Xiangling, Xingqiu, and Yalan, if you have her, are specifically very useful in meta in certain teams, and overall they will slot into most teams, as well as main DPS like Hu Tao and Arlecchino being some of the most reliable units in the game. Of course, there are other resin efficient domains, especially with the introduction of Furina and how Fontaine characters can gain and lose HP. The Marechausse and Golden Troop domain is more than likely going to be your most resin efficient domain. There is also the Gilded and Deepwood domain that is a fairly resin efficient domain as well, especially if you need to build any of these characters. I know I said most people will be using Emblem for resin efficiency, but it would be a crime not to mention some of the best domains in the game. When it comes to selecting artifacts, knowing about character scalings and teams are very, very important, as knowing these things about most characters will allow you to know what's good and what substats to value. For example, with a character like Arlecchino, you're generally looking for attack percentage as the main stat for your sands, with substats like crit, energy recharge. We're also looking for attack on substats in the goblets and on the circlets. Whereas on similar characters like Hu Tao, she scales specifically off of HP, meaning her main stats will focus on crit and elemental mastery while looking for HP on substats. For example, running an EM Sands is very viable on her if you have really good HP substats to make up for it, or if you're running a double Hydra team that provides Hydra resonance. Now, I've made a graphic here to show the minimum and maximum rolls for important substats, no flat stats because nobody uses flat stats in the game, but this graphic helps you see exactly what to expect from a quote-unquote max roll. Like for example, 3.89 is a max roll of crit rates. And I understand if this graphic is a little bit confusing, as it shows 3.89, for example, for crit rate, when really in the game it just rounds up and rounds down depending on the number that you use. Like 3.89 is 3.9 and 3.11 really means 3.1. Now this is from the official Genshin wiki, so if I am incorrect in any of these assumptions, feel free to correct me in the comments down below, but this is my source on these numbers. Now remember, different accounts have different priorities and characters in general, so my advice might not apply to everybody, but I know that the advice I've laid out should help both new players and intermediate players understand where to go farm, and hopefully taking this knowledge and trying to fit it into how they want and or can play the game. And that about makes up the video. If you guys could like and subscribe, it would mean the world to me, and leave a comment down below on what I should cover next, or tell me your opinion on what I'm saying and offer your own opinions in the comments below. I also wanted to say that I do stream most nights on Twitch, so if you'd like to come by to the streams, it will be twitch.tv/milesperhourttv. That is Miles PERHRTTV, like you see on screen right now. And yeah, hope you guys have a beautiful day.